Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. And what we're going to make are ice cream cones. I do have another recipe that is really quite popular on my channel. They are actually chocolate waffle cones. Today's recipe is actually the vanilla waffle cones. It's quite different than the chocolate waffle cone, ice cream cones that I have on my channel already. So if you don't like this recipe or the vanilla, please check out the chocolate waffle cones that I have on Diane Lovetobake, okay? What I did was, ahead of time, to save some time, I went ahead and you're going to need 4 egg whites, and you're going to need to have them beaten very well, and you can see how really beautiful these have come out. And I used, you know, my wire whisk. You can use your hand mixer for this. I like using my stand-up. I think it's much faster for my videos, but anyway, use 4 egg whites, and you know, like I said, really beat them very well, okay? So you can see how those turned out quite nice. Now, that was to save some time for the video, as well as in this mixing bowl, I went ahead and I took a 1/2 cup of butter. Now, if you don't have butter and you prefer solid shortening, go ahead and use a 1/2 cup, but just put it in your mixing bowl and you want to cream it, okay? And I went ahead again to save time. I used a 1/2 cup of butter and I began to cream it and break it up, okay? The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to need a 1/2 cup of granulated sugar, and you need to cream it with your butter or your shortening, okay? And that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, I'm going to warn you about the sound because the mixer can sound loud, okay? Now that shouldn't take you too long. It might take you 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe it'll be faster. It depends on, you know, if you're using your stand-up or your hand mixer and what speed or whatever, but just cream it together. I'm just going to turn it on for another couple seconds and blend that granulated sugar with that butter. Alright, once you've combined those and you're satisfied with that, you're going to need all-purpose flour. And you're going to need 1 cup of all-purpose flour to this mixture till it's well combined. Again, I'm going to warn you about the sound. Now, stay with this and, you know, just beat it till it becomes, well, actually kind of crumbly and then well combined, okay? I'm just getting to the bottom of my mixer because it tends to stick there, whatever you put in there. In this case, the butter. And I'm going to turn it on again, warn you about the sound. Okay. Now, once you know that you have creamed that very well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off my beater here and my excess, okay, and set that aside. And just combine everything together. And then I'm going to be needing now my egg whites, those 4 egg whites that I beat very well, okay? Now remember to beat them until they're stiff, okay? And you can also put in a teaspoon of vanilla if you want to. You don't have to, but if you'd like to have a little bit of vanilla taste to it, also put a teaspoon of your vanilla into that, okay? All right. And then what I'm going to do is just take a little of my egg whites and I'm going to just kind of fold it in with this mixture. And it will soften it together because your mixture might seem, well, you might think it seems a little dry. So just put, you know, a little bit at a time. Now, I think the egg whites, what it does, of course, is help these waffle cones to come out lighter for you and crisper. So, you know, but you do want to mix them well, you know. A lot of times we're so afraid to do too much heavy mixing with our egg whites because we don't want to take away that air. But in this particular recipe, you really got to make sure that they're folded in well and that they're mixed well, okay? So that was all of that. And then I'm just going to fold in the rest. And like I said, I am mixing it quite well. I'm not, you know, too afraid to break it down a little bit because I really got to make sure that these egg whites are well blended. Okay. Just going to change my hand here a little bit. I've got my right hand in a cast, so use my left. Okay. All right, I got the batter going. And now I'm going to just push this mixer out of my way, make some room, and I have actually a cone maker already plugged in. Now, if you don't have a cone maker, you can actually make it in a hot skillet with a little bit of oil spray and, you know, start, well, practicing making, like, say, a tablespoon or 2 in a pan, okay, and let it cook. But the waffle cone maker makes it, you know, really a lot easier. And just lightly spray it with your oil spray. Same thing if you're going to use a pan and you don't have one of these, okay? I'm going to grab a tablespoon because I like to put down about 2 tablespoons of the batter, and I just try to, I hope that you can see that, I'm sorry about that. I just try to spread it out a little bit, and then I, you know, close the top. This particular maker, the light is off and you wait for it to go on, and then it'll tell you that the waffle cone is done. It's cooked, you know. I also like to put a clean towel or kitchen towel or linen towel. So because when this comes out, I'm going to, you know, lift it with my knife. You can use a fork, you could use whatever that you prefer because it's going to get hot when this does come out. You're going to see a lot of steam that comes out when you're baking with these cone makers, but it's the way it should be, that kind of thing. This is really helpful, and of course that comes with it. Now if you don't have, and you're going to make these in a pan or a skillet, then use, you know, you can use the end of a spoon like this, or, you know, the larger wooden rolling pins anything that's going to give you that shape, you know, that you can roll it with, okay? Another thing I have used, they make a smaller size cone, but actually the wooden cannoli dowels, if you know what I'm talking about. If you've made cannoli at all, I've used my wooden dowels for those to make very small cones out of it, that kind of thing. All right, and I'm just going to, well, I'm a little bit premature here, so it's not quite ready. So I'm going to let that stay for a second. But I do want to show you some of the stuff that I have made already. Now, you can go ahead and make your ice cream bowls if you want. You know, when it's hot, just put it into your bowl. It can be, you know, any type of safe glass bowl or plastic bowl or wooden bowl, and shape it. I would lift it for a few seconds, make sure that, you know, you don't get that condensation in there because it'll get soggy, and wipe it out, and then put it back till it hardens so that you could have a nice little ice cream bowl. I also, gonna leave that another little bit. I actually make like little discs out of it where you could make and do little ice cream sandwiches out of it. I just make a large disc like this, and then I just take a little cutter for the size, or if you don't have that, a cookie cutter, bottom, you know, of a glass. And these make nice for ice cream sandwiches. You know, that works really good too. And let's take this out. And it is hot. Very hot. And this is where you really want to use a towel. And what I do is I just start to roll it. You want to try to get that bottom to have not a big gaping hole in it, if you know what I mean. So you want to kind of roll it as tight as you can. And it, you know, it's warm to the fingertips. I gotta tell you about that. And then on the bottom, if you're worried about it being too big of a hole, you can actually press it down. And then what I like to do is I just cover it with a towel and just hold it in place, because as it cools, then they're going to form, and they're going to be, you know, the fold will be, you know, combined. And it's much easier when you have a towel over it, because this is hot. And you really don't want to let go till, you know, about 2 or 3 minutes. I don't anyway, till I know, because I don't want the waffle cone to unravel. So it takes a little bit of patience. And some people, I'm sure, would say, well, isn't it just, you know, easier, or maybe, you know, cheaper to buy yours? Yes, it can. I don't know if it's cheaper, because it really costs very little to put this together. Now, it depends on the size of the cones that you're making, of course. But on this, I can get sometimes 6 to 8 cones out of this recipe. It really depends on the size, okay? I'm going to leave this just for a second. I'm hoping it won't unravel, because I really wanted you to see it once it starts to cool down. So I'm going to stay with the pressure. But I'm going to show you some that I've already made. Now, you can make whatever size that you prefer, and how large, and you know, the smaller you make, you're going to yield more out of the recipe, okay? But this is a nice jumbo size. And then I made this one. Now, the longer you bake these, you know, they'll take on a darker look. It's really up to you. If that doesn't bother you, that, you know, some will have a lighter or darker. That's up to you. I just like to know that they're well baked, because you want them to be, you know, crispy when you use them. And I would suggest to keep them in a cool place in an airtight container, because if moisture gets to them, they will get soft, okay? So you do want them, or wrap them very well in saran wrap and then into a Ziploc bag, that kind of thing, because you want them to be crisp and you want them to be fresh, that kind of thing. This is still quite warm yet, okay, but it really made a beautiful cone. Now you can make them as thick or thin as you want. It's just depending on you and that kind of thing. And what I also do is I actually, once I know it's relatively cool, I put them in my freezer just for about 2 or 3 minutes. I don't want them to get real hard, because then as they unthaw, you're going to have moisture. But it just kind of cools them faster, and it, you know, it gives me that so that they're firm and that kind of thing. Okay. So, but you don't have to use the freezer method if you don't want to. That's really, you know, up to you. But there, you know, there's so many uses for them, you know, and they will give you a nice crisp cone. They really are great tasting cones. And like I said, if you don't have a cone maker, you still can make these, and they're absolutely delicious, okay? So I want to thank you for watching Diane Lovetobake. I hope you like this recipe, and if you do, leave a comment, because I like to hear from you. As always, I always want to remind you to watch me solely on YouTube, especially if you're going to write to me or comment, because if my work is taken to other sites, and I'm certainly not alone on that, I'm not able to answer, and I'm very frustrated by that. And so please, my videos are only shown on YouTube. So if you want to write, I will answer you in a timely fashion, okay? If you like the video, please, you know, give a like. I'd really appreciate it. And if you're so inclined and want to subscribe, I'm very proud of the channel. I think I'm close to 3 million views now. And I thank every one that watches, and especially a big shout out thank you to all those that have subscribed to Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. So thanks again for watching. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.